Loose leash walking. First, stand with your body and hands in a neutral position. Cue for your dog's attention and click and treat a few times. Then just wait for the dog to look at you without a cue. Click, take one tiny step forward and feed directly into the dog's mouth, or place the treat on the ground near your foot. Repeat steps 2 and 3 in fairly rapid repetitions. Make sure you are clicking for attention, then taking one step forward and feeding. Spend about 3 minutes doing this, then take a break. Start by doing step 3 a few times, maybe 5 to 10 times. Then instead of one step, take 2 small steps before you click and treat. Then after doing this for 2 to 3 minutes, your dog should be getting better at staying close, following you with attention. If not, don't worry about it. Just keep working with short breaks every 3 to 5 minutes. If your dog is working well, try extending the number of steps to 3 or 4 and clicking and treating for attention as you walk. Now you can treat for attention to you and for the leash being loose. As you work with your dog, you can extend the number of steps before clicking and treating, but make sure your dog is staying engaged with you and not getting discouraged or distracted and running to the end of the leash. Here are 2 important rules to remember as you take your dog out walking. Number 1, if he pulls out to the end of the leash, just stop and wait until he comes back to you and then move forward. Step 2, make sure the majority of your walks are short training walks using clicks and treats. Ideally, you would train 3 to 5 times a day. If you're thinking, wouldn't a choke chain or prong collar work better? You should know that this seldom, if ever, creates a loose leash dog. The dog just eventually gets used to the pain, and the relationship between you and your dog will deteriorate because of the constant uncomfortable aspect of that equipment. Walks will become a torturous experience in compliance instead of the rich bonding experience that a walk can be.
So one of the nice things about having a dog that walks nicely on leash is they're not pulling you everywhere. What usually happens when your dog pulls out, most people will try and pull the dog back, right? We're trying to teach them what not to do. I think it's better if you teach your dog what to do. So I have these cones set out. The cones are for me, not the dog, and it's to remind me of when to click and treat. So what I'm going to do, because they're about a foot apart or 1 step apart, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the end, and I'm going to click and treat my dog. Walk to the next cone, click, treat my dog. Next cone, click, treat the dog. And she's staying with me, so it's pretty easy. And then we just come back and do the same thing. So the cones serve as markers for me so that I'm treating really frequently. So I'm teaching the dog to walk with me, and that way she doesn't even want to pull out. So pretty soon she's going to be walking with me, giving me her full attention, right? Because she's getting fed every couple of feet. And then you can get rid of the cones. You can take them one at a time away, or you can just put them all away, because really it's a cheat sheet for you. And then you just walk with your dog. And when the dog looks up at you, mark and treat. But do it pretty frequently. And then the next step is all you have to do is fade out the rewards, and your dog will just want to follow you. Make a lot of turns, vary where you move, and she may get distracted, but she will almost always come back to me to get a click and a treat. If she does pull out on leash, I'm going to toss a treat out just to do an example. If I toss a treat way out there and she wants that treat, the leash goes tight, all I do is just stop, and when she looks back at me, then I click and I can take a step back to get her to move toward me, and then we can go get that treat on a loose leash. The point I'm trying to make is that the leash should always be loose. It's okay if the dog pulls out. If the dog pulls out, you just stop, try and get their attention back. But don't keep pulling on the leash, because that only teaches them that they move when the leash is tight. And we want to teach them just the opposite. We want to teach them what to do instead of approaching it from the angle of what not to do. You can also work off leash. So if you're in your house in a safe area, just dump the leash and just walk away from your dog. When your dog catches up to you, then click and treat. so that they learn that they should just follow you around. That's how you can get a really nice off-leash dog, by just teaching them to follow you wherever you go. And just like everything else, we're initially using treats as a lure, right? So we just click and treat at every step. And then we fade out those lures pretty quickly, but we're going to keep going with reinforcing the behavior that we want for a while. So yes, in the beginning, take treats with you on your walks, and then gradually fade those out. And eventually you'll get a dog that just finds it rewarding to follow you. Like Moxie. Good girl, sit. Good job.
Here's your homework for loose leash walking. Level 1. Practice inside your house, walking away from your dog and treating as he catches up to your side. Make staying with you the best experience ever for your dog. Level 2. Practice inside a fenced yard, walking away from your dog and treating as he catches up to your side. If the dog is not interested in following you, try higher value treats or go back to practicing in your house for a couple of days. Level 3. Clip a leash on your dog and practice loose leash walking inside your house and inside your yard. Level 4. With the dog on the leash, practice loose leash walking on your regular walks. Remember, the walk should be enjoyable for both of you. The dog will want to stop and sniff and occasionally pull at the end of the leash. Don't give in and let the dog pull you, and don't pull on your dog. Remember, when the dog pulls the leash tight, you stop. Movement only happens when there is not tension on the leash.